Hi friends. We looked through this book about totem poles and I told you that totem poles are carved out of giant cedar trees by the Northwest Native Americans. So the Native Americans who lived way in the northwest part of North America. And we learned that totem poles are sort of like a book that you can read, but instead of using words, Native Americans used symbols of animals and birds. And totem poles were also a way to tell stories and pass them down from grandparents to parents to children. And then when those children grew up, they would tell their children. So some of these stories are very old. And remember, we can also learn from some of these stories. So in this book, we read the legend of the eagle and the young chief. Remember the symbols? As we learned about the eagle and the salmon and how he brought food to the young chief in the village. Well, here's a Native American symbol of an eagle, and he's usually at the top of a totem pole because he's the ruler of the sky, one of the largest of the birds. And he has great strength and leadership. That story also had a salmon in it. And a salmon is considered a provider. He feeds the Native American people from that area where there are many, many salmon swimming. And he also is dependable. So people can count on catching salmon and eating them for nourishment. Now I'm going to show you some totem poles. I showed you this little one. It's just a little mini one. I'm going to put it over here in my scene with my Kachinas and my Native American scene. And this is actually a walking stick. And look what's at the top. There's an eagle or some kind of large bird. My brother carved this walking stick, and he liked to put a thunderbird at the top of his. Now this one doesn't have his wings out, they're down by his side. But he also has a Native American in a headdress holding something. And there's some fish. And there's the world, the earth. I bet you know what this symbol is. I'm hitting the side of this drum, but you're right, that's a drum symbol. And I'm going to show you this other smaller one he carved. Look what's at the top. A thunderbird or an eagle, I'm not sure which. And then there's a face here. Look at those details in the eyes. Looks like there's something else here. I'm not sure what that one is. I'll have to ask my brother what all these symbols are. And down here is a raven, another bird with her little baby. And my brother did tell me that this bird represents me and my first child, my daughter, Sarah. So that was a fun, smaller one he made. He carved many totem poles, and some were enormous, really big, higher than our house. So today we're going to make our own totem poles. Now, if you don't have a toilet paper roll or a paper towel roll, you can always roll up some paper. And that's what I did because I wanted to make a large totem pole. So you could also use a paper towel roll. You'll also need some small scraps of construction paper and some crayons or markers. It's up to you. You decide what you want to use. And I actually used some paints to paint the background of my totem pole, the actual wood or cedar part. Then I want you to use your crayons to draw some animals. Here's some ideas that you might want to add to your totem pole. Maybe you'll do a beaver. The beaver represents the elders, wise people who are also builders and creative, just like the creative kids, and artistic and determined and who love their families. That's what the beaver represents. The frog symbol is considered spring or new life. You know what else? The communicator. That's what the frogs are. Remember how noisy those spring peepers were in that video I did a while back? Do you know what kind of bird this is? This is a hummingbird, and a hummingbird is a symbol of beauty and intelligence. The hummingbird is smart. The hummingbird also moves very, very fast and through the air very quickly, so it's considered the messenger. And here's the owl. The owl is watchful and wise and very well respected. Many times you'll see a bear on a totem pole. Here's one symbol of a bear. Look at that mouth and those big eyes. The bear is often considered to be a teacher. He's also very welcome and friendly. He also represents strength and motherhood. Have you ever heard the expression bear hug? Sort of like a mother's hug, something strong and tender at the same time. And this is another kind of bird. This one's the thunderbird, and he is a caller of rain. So many times they do thunderbird dances where Native Americans might dress up as thunderbirds if they needed rain, so they do a special ceremony. So the thunderbird also represents leadership. He's also known to make lightning and thunder with a blink of an eye or a flap of its wings. So to make our totem poles, I made a thunderbird. I drew it on paper, I cut it out, and I decorated it with some crayons. And I'm going to use my glue stick to put it here at the top of my totem pole. I also drew another kind of beaver. See his 2 teeth? He works through a lot of logs. I'm going to put him next. Actually, I'm going to put him down here because I want to put that bear next. See his big eyes? Her big eyes. She represents motherhood. And I have room for a salmon. I love to eat salmon. I love to catch salmon when I go fishing. And I have room for one more, but I want you to get started on your totem pole so that you can add it to your Native American scene. And in your activity kit was a printout of a totem pole that you can color with colored pencils, markers, or crayons. Have fun with that, and I can't wait to see your totem poles, friends.